Chapter 4. Maya watched Jenna stalk toward the house.
That was weird.
Grayson couldn't help but smile at Maya, who was as flummoxed by Jenna as he was. Maya turned to him with a peculiar look.
Grayson Miller.
Maya scolded.
What did you do?
He put his palms up in defense. Nothing.
Then why doesn't she know that you're Grayson?
When she arrived yesterday, she assumed that I was the gardener.
And you didn't set her straight?
She asked with the same scolding tone, which was completely at odds with her naturally sweet disposition. I was going to, he said, and then gave a small shrug. And then I gave up. Let her believe what she wants. I only want to focus on the garden. So, when it comes right down to it, I am the gardener.
She seems quite determined to find you.
She'll be in for a long wait.
But how will you work together? Doesn't she have questions?
She's been emailing me.
Grayson, you have to tell her.
No, I don't. She's nothing but trouble. I should have just sold the place as is. Maya cocked her head to the side, pity reflecting in her eyes.
How are you?
Don't.
Don't what?
I know what you're thinking.
You can't possibly know what I'm thinking.
You're wondering how I'm surviving with a broken heart. Maya's mouth twisted.
Okay, so you might know.
Grayson grinned at her confession and then picked up a hedge, lifting it from its pot. I'm okay, he said. When Maya didn't look convinced, he continued, I think about her often, but it doesn't hurt like before. In fact, I've been thinking. He placed the hedge in the hole and began covering the roots with soil.
And?
Maya prompted when he didn't continue. She's happy.
I know that, silly, but that doesn't tell me how you are.
I'm accepting it. I'd still like to punch Caleb, but I think that's only because he took what I perceived as mine. Nadia was never mine, and it was my fault. If I had put her before work like I should have, things may have been different. It made him wonder why he hadn't. Why didn't he push work aside to be with her? When he finally had, it was too late. Maybe there was a reason for that. Maybe a life with her wasn't meant to be. That didn't make it any less painful, but it did allow him to accept it and begin to move on. He just had to finish this ridiculously huge 10-acre fantasy garden. The secret alcove was nearly complete, and the hedge maze was on its way. In a good 2 months, he could close this chapter and start a new one. Perhaps he could track his brother Ian down and travel with him for a while. Ian was always on an adventure, and it was time that Grayson went on one too.
Grayson!
Grayson looked up to find Maya standing with her hands on her hips. What's wrong?
I was talking, and you weren't paying attention.
Were you talking about clothes again? You know I never listen when you talk about clothes. Maya huffed, but a twinkle danced in her eye.
No, I was talking about David.
What about David?
He needs a night out. He's driving me crazy.
Remy said the same thing, Grayson said. He said you were busy planning the nursery.
I am. Frankie and Mark have been a big help designing it.
We're planning on taking him out on Friday. I'm letting David stew for a day or two.
You're heartless.
Maya teased. Remy said something similar. Will it help if I call David today and let him know? Maya nodded.
Please, and if you can think of any other reasons to get him out of the house.
Already trying to get rid of your husband? Grayson asked, amused. You just got him home a few months ago. David Miller, Maya's husband, had left on an assignment 2 years ago without a word. No one knew if he was dead or alive. Due to the secrecy of his mission, he couldn't reach out to his family. He only recently returned home and had been living the domestic life ever since. Domestic life seemed to be a work in progress.
You know I'm happy to have my husband home. I think he's just nervous about becoming a dad. And with all the changes and the nursery, I think he really needs a guy's night with you and Remy.
I promise I'll call him this afternoon. Grayson's phone buzzed in his pocket. He wiped his hands off on his jeans and took out his phone, only to wish he hadn't. An email from Ms. Newman was waiting for him.
What's wrong?
Another one of Jenna's emails.
What does it say?
Mr. Miller, Grayson read. I'm sorry I missed you this morning. I had hoped we could have met by now. Since we keep missing each other, I will have to lay the matter out by email. I had hoped to avoid that since it requires a frank discussion about your staff, particularly your gardener. Grayson groaned.
Keep reading.
Maya urged, stifling a giggle. While the gardener and I seem to have started off on the wrong foot, it doesn't excuse his lack of work ethic. For instance, he uses his cell phone quite frequently during working hours. He has a tendency to be abrupt to the point of rudeness. Also, he has his friends over on company time. I realize you probably know since you talked with her this morning, but his girlfriend is on site right now. Maya squeaked.
Does she mean me?
Grayson nodded with a chuckle, though he felt like strangling his phone. He continued reading. Not only all of that, but he's planting hedges in the middle of the yard. Surely this must be a mistake, but he refuses to listen to me. If we could sit down and discuss this problem, along with a few other questions I have, I would appreciate it.
She doesn't sound as if she likes you very much.
Maya said with another giggle.
I'm surprised she didn't add that you were dirty on top of it.
She did, Grayson muttered. Maya squealed and snatched the phone to read,
I have come up with a design for uniforms. As soon as it can be arranged, I would like for the gardener to begin wearing it. While the mansion is magnificent, he is an eyesore.
Maya's eyes popped open wide before she peeled with laughter. It's not that funny, Grayson said, swiping the phone back and shoving it into his pocket.
But it is.
Maya said, wiping tears from her eyes.
You are the most handsome man I have ever met, excluding David, of course.
She added quickly.
Women fall head over heels for you every time you enter a room.
Feel free to tell her that, Grayson said, attacking the ground with the shovel.
She can't see it. You're covered in dirt and have an overgrown beard. I don't blame her for mistaking you for the gardener.
Grayson stopped digging and leaned on the shovel. How am I supposed to work in the yard all day and not get dirty? It seems to me that she should be happy I'm dirty because it means I'm accomplishing things. And what do I care if no one likes my beard? I actually like walking into a store without getting hit on. I think I'll keep the beard indefinitely. Maya grinned.
You're letting her get under your skin. You could clear this up just by letting her know who you are. She's going to find out eventually.
Grayson snorted. I doubt she'll figure it out. I took a shower in my own bathroom, and she had the nerve to yell at me for using Mr. Miller's shower. I'm beginning to wonder who she imagines this hallowed Mr. Miller is. It's definitely not me because she's completely blind to the obvious.
How are you going to reply to the email?
I don't know, Grayson said, though a devilish smile brewed. But I have a growing urge to tell her to fire the gardener.
You wouldn't.
Maya gasped. Wouldn't I?
Unfortunately, I think you might. You know she'd do it, right? What would you do then?
But she doesn't have the experience under her belt to deal with a horrible employee like me. I can guarantee she has never had to fire an employee before. Why not start with me? Maya shook her head.
Don't taunt her. She's no match for you and you know it.
Don't feel sorry for the little drill sergeant. I'm sure she can take as good as she delivers, and I'm sick of doing all the taking. Maya paled. She bent over and heaved into one of the holes Grayson was digging. He glanced down at the mess nonplussed. You still have morning sickness, I see, he said calmly, tossing a layer of soil on top of her mess. We'll consider that fertilizer.
It's around-the-clock sickness,
Maya said miserably. Grayson let the shovel drop to the ground and wrapped his arm around Maya, who was wilting fast. Let's go make you a cup of peppermint tea.
Jenna had been watching the couple on and off while she was working at the kitchen table. She felt a twinge of guilt for blasting the uncomplimentary email to Mr. Miller, but he had to be made aware. Not only was the employee talking to his perky blonde girlfriend, but he was on his phone too. When was he ever going to get the grounds ready? And planting hedges in the middle of the yard. Absurd. I guess I could have been a little less critical, Jenna muttered with a sigh, and she watched the couple again. They did make a cute couple, she grudgingly admitted. He wrapped his arm around the woman and led her to the house. Jenna noticed Maya looked pale and leaned heavily on his arm. Something must be wrong. Jenna scooted back from the table and met the couple at the back door. "Is she okay?" Jenna asked.
She'll be fine.
Grayson replied, moving past her to lead Maya into the kitchen. Jenna followed behind, feeling like a tag-along. But her laptop was in the kitchen, and she wanted to make sure Maya was okay. She had seemed fine when they met earlier. Grayson deposited Maya at the breakfast bar. She moaned and slumped over. He chuckled softly and placed a light kiss on the top of her head.
We'll have you better in no time,
Grayson said, moving to the stove to start the tea kettle. "How will tea help?" Jenna questioned, her eyes assessing Maya.
It helps settle the stomach.
"Oh," Jenna said, "can I do anything to help?" His gray eyes settled heavily on Jenna. There was something unnerving about him when he looked at her that way.
No, she'll be fine.
Jenna was about to argue when Maya gave a helpless wave of her hand.
I'll be fine. I'm pregnant and have a bit of morning sickness.
Jenna's eyes shot between the couple before she retreated to the table and picked up her laptop. "I'll leave you two alone," she said, hurrying to escape. She didn't know why she wanted to leave so quickly. It wasn't as if she had never met a pregnant woman before. But Jenna felt as though she'd stepped in on a private moment.
You don't have to leave. I'm sick all the time. It's nothing new.
That's true. You've been green around the gills for weeks now.
Maya gave a weak smile.
At least you're handling this better than David. He turns as green as I do. He tries, though, and I'm glad he's home again. I'm glad I have you, too,
she said, looking at Grayson. Jenna glanced between the two. She couldn't help but ask, "Who is David?"
My husband.
Grayson's jaw instantly clenched at Jenna's astonished reaction. The kettle whistled. I believe you were leaving, Grayson stated roughly, turning his back to grab the kettle and pour boiling water into a mug. By the time he retrieved the peppermint tea from the cupboard, Jenna was gone.
You shouldn't have snapped at her,
Maya said, reaching for the mug. Grayson slid it over to her. She assumed you were cheating on your husband with me.
That's ridiculous.
We know it's ridiculous, but I could see it in her eyes.
You do have a knack for reading people,
she said thoughtfully. It's not hard to read a person who has wide eyes and is gaping like a flounder.
Well, you still shouldn't snap. If you had told her the truth about who you were, she probably wouldn't have assumed that.
She's here to work, not to assume. Maya blew the steam from her tea and settled laughing eyes on him.
You sound positively surly.
If I am, it's her fault.
I'm almost afraid to go home. You two might come to blows.
Then you have a low opinion of me if you ever think I would hit a woman, and you think too highly of her to believe she would actually stand up to the Mr. Miller. Grayson snipped.
You haven't told her that you're the Mr. Miller?
Maya teased, ignoring Grayson's darkening mood. And I won't.
I have a feeling David won't be the only one burning off steam on Guy's night. All three of you are wound up.
3 of us.
Remy, too.
He's always on the tense side.
I know, but he's been even more moody. He barked at Mark the other day because he said Remy looked like he could use a green power smoothie.
Grayson grimaced. That's because Mark's green power smoothies are disgusting. I would have yelled too. Maya shook her head.
No, this is different. You should talk to him.
Grayson nearly laughed. Talk? Guys don't talk, especially if that guy is Remy.
I guess you're right, but I wish I knew what was bothering him.
Maya took a sip of tea and sighed, mindlessly rubbing her belly. Grayson's gaze softened. Are you going to find out if it's a boy or girl?
I'm not sure. I like the idea of a surprise, but I also want to plan. Although, for the nursery, it won't matter what the baby's sex is. Frankie and Mark have designed it so that it will work no matter what. Mark is sewing quilted animals. I have a feeling the room will be overflowing with animals by the time the baby arrives.
As long as you leave a spot open for me, I'd like to buy my little niece something.
Niece?
I order you to have a girl, Grayson stated, his strong words weakening as he smiled fondly. I grew up with two of the most annoying and obnoxious brothers a kid could have. I'd like to spoil a niece. Maya sipped her tea, attempting to hide a mischievous smile that instantly set him on guard.